note.
I actually think you're supposed to be doing menthol when you have a cold.
Is that right? Hi guys.
You on?
Yeah, we're already on,
Oh,
dude.
good.
I just got you on. That's all. No problem. I've been trying. I've been trying for the last fucking hour. Excuse me. Oh, we're not. We're not. We're not. We're not on live. We're on YouTube live, but
Oh,
we're
you
not.
too
We're
loud.
not. You just have to remind me when we go live to hit the recorder today.
Okay.
But
I
I've
was
been.
gonna send you a text
But for
before.
the last damn hour, dude, I've been trying to. My printer. I don't know why. It just freaking drops for no fucking
It's
reason.
so funny. You know what? My wireless driver today of my laptop stopped. I got 3 errors saying it stopped 3 times. Go do the troubleshooting. Can't find anything wrong.
This thing here
Turn it
is
off for
like
3 minutes. Good. I gotta get a new one.
I can see it can see everything that's on in the house except for the printer. So I'm figuring the printer is either like intermittently, showing itself and not showing itself.
Um,
Whatever.
when my printer goes away, it's usually a firewall. Something got dropped in the
I
firewall.
have it.
Some glitch in the
I
firewall.
have it to readjust the firewall, and then I don't have anything on the VPN to tell it not to do it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
well, that's what happens.
this is what you're seeing on the pre-show, guys. How you doing today? This is
Hey,
hey, what? Dougie's back.
yeah, come back up.
We're both sick as dogs, but we're here today. Actually, we're not as sick as we were last week. Last week was pretty sick, so I've been trying to not breathe Dougie's air, and hopefully he's not going to breathe mine. So we're not sure. So I restarted my computer. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. We've been off, and resolutions are made to be broken. And we broke our resolution to be on every week, no matter what happens. And unfortunately, everybody it seems that I know just come down with this stupid cold that we've got, and it's just the worst cold I've ever had. I think it started out in shortly after Anthony passed away. I think I had it even before that, and it's just been on and off. And this second time that I got it has been the worst time ever. And I believe it started with Eddie. But we're going to keep it going here. And I'm just kind of booting up my computer, getting stuff going. Show starts at 7 promptly. And we got a couple of subjects we're going to talk about. One of the biggest subjects we're going to talk about is Super Bowl's coming up. And then we're going to talk about social media and where it's taken us in the past decade or so that we've had social media, and talk about some local stuff that's going on. And yeah, it's kind of where we're going tonight. Welcome to everybody that's sitting there on YouTube. I sent out the link. Hopefully, somebody's tuned in there. I'm sure Doug's wonderful wife Abby is on the other
Yeah, she's had time. She's just
on,
got home a
on the
second
other
ago.
side. Did she?
Come here, come here.
She wasn't home when you left.
No, she just walking in as I was walking out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we timed it that way.
Got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's just hanging out the corner.
there you go. Had some Monty Python deaths in the past couple of months, man.
Yeah,
God, that's
yeah.
sad, dude.
Well, they're getting that age,
Yeah, man.
you know,
Everybody's
mid to late 70s.
we're next.
I know.
Jeez,
All right.
they're gonna
Hey,
they're gonna get us pretty soon. Anyway, what?
you know, I just got to say it.
Go ahead.
I've got to say it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm watching TV and a
Mm,
commercial comes on.
mm,
It's one of these car commercials and they're bragging about their accident avoidance stuff.
okay.
So here's this family driving in their car, father, mother, 2 kids in the back, a little sedan. All of a sudden, the brakes come on and the car veers hard to the right. Then they look out the window and there's a truck right in front of them. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, but if you've got your family in the car, you should be paying a little more attention than that. It's not just the truck just lurched out in front of them. The truck was almost all the way across the road. If they'd slowed down a little bit, they probably could have gone behind it.
I've seen that one
What are they teaching us?
with the braking and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That guy should never be allowed to drive again with his family in the car.
the life before his eyes
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah,
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 I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got
That's
two.
ridiculous.
I got two commercials I'm tired of. since I've gone to. I don't know if it's been going on with you guys have what, Dish or DirecTV?
DirecTV.
DirecTV. Bloomberg and Steyer
Oh, oh,
have
oh,
just fucking
yeah.
flooded.
Two
Well,
ads in the first half of the football game last week.
oh no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about with I got this. I'm doing streaming, so I've got this. One of my favorite apps is called Pluto, and Pluto is an app that has. It's made by. I want to say it's made by Viacom, but there's no real live TV. It's got a bunch of movies, got a bunch of archives shows and stuff like that on it, but every time they go to a commercial, and they go to commercials like in the weirdest places in shows. You be where you would think that there would be a commercial. No, it like cuts right in the middle of some kind of dialogue, and then goes to a commercial. That's just the way that they do it. and Tom Steyer is just all over it. I mean, he must have bought all of Pluto to do all his commercials, but he's just all over it.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. And then Blueberg's all over TV. So
Right.
the,
Yeah.
the the two ones out that I've ever seen, I don't think I've seen another political ad besides Bloomberg and Steyer. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there today or tomorrow or whatever it is. But still, it is still what they're doing. I'm still
It is.
offline. Dang it! I hate Windows 10. Everything used to work great before I put Windows 10 on all my computers, and now I'm I don't know.
Windows 7 is no longer supported.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard the same thing. So,
I'm gonna have to throw another quarter in the box.
you know,
And you know what I noticed?
I liked XP. XP
Yeah.
was great. I thought XP was great. I never had a problem with XP. Ever had a problem with XP.
Yeah. No.
And then
No.
Windows
XP was fine. Yeah.
7 came along, Windows 8, which was a big failure. And
Yeah.
actually, Windows 7 was
7 was
pretty
pretty
good.
good. It was pretty stable. Yeah.
And oh man, it was just terrible. So Windows 10 has been terrible. But I think my brother printer that's it's pretty old. Well, it's not pretty old, but I mean it's old enough. And I think it just gave up the ghost. It'll hook up to the internet. I can configure it all, and it says that it's all hooked up. But I can't. None of my computers can see it. And every once in a while, I'll turn it on and I'll print something, and it'll print.
Yeah. I noticed that with mine too. Sometimes
So
you just try it, and all of a sudden it figures it
all of a
out.
sudden, it figures it out.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to. I don't know. They practically give you computers now because ink and freaking other stuff's so expensive. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the idea. The printers are just a vehicle to sell.
So if
Yeah.
anybody has any suggestions on what printer I should get, Bruce the Weathered Soul at gmail.com. Let me know, or get a hold of me
You know,
on Facebook and let me know
all the
what printer I should get.
all the big commercial printers, printer manufacturers sell ink.
Oh yeah,
And if you
absolutely.
don't buy the consumables for them, then you've got no warranty.
Yeah, well, I've been
Yeah.
buying,
No, I'm just
what I
saying,
can,
that's that's
but
the way it is. It's a consumable
yeah, it's
thing.
just it cost me.
Yeah.
See, when I did when I did Anthony's memorial, and then I did some Christmas cards and stuff. I went through, $60 worth of ink.
Oh
Just
yeah.
doing those.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And then the black ink, the one black ink is just as much, if not more, than 3 color inks.
Because they only give you a third of each.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. they give
It's
you they
absolutely
give you
crazy.
100% in the black and only 30% each of the colors.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, I got to bring up a couple things here that I was supposed to print out for you. We're going to talk a couple of things today. What do you got on your list?
Okay, so I just had some thoughts about Facebook. You said you wanted to go into other
Yeah, we're going to talk.
other
Well,
platforms as well.
we're going to talk. We're going to talk number one about my experience with MySpace first, because that's where I started out, and then
Yeah, well, that was one of the originals, right?
uh, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess
was
you
it?
could
Yeah,
say it was one of
yeah.
the originals, and
It
then
was
Time Warner bought him out.
competitor with Facebook.
Right, right. But yeah, I wanted to print you out a couple of things. I wanted to print you out that Fresno piece about the guy that jumped the San Joaquin River in his Mercedes Benz, and yeah, he made it, but he did make it. Uh,
That's too much. That really is too much. Did did he expect to, like, survive?
I'll read you the article. I'll read you guys the article right now because we're gonna go through it anyway. So I'll read you the article anyway because we're gonna rehash it. So Fresno man 58 killed after jumping car over San Joaquin River after police pursuit. Cops say. Cops say.
That's a little bit different.
So January 20th, 2020, by Ashley Pano of the Fresno Bee, a car flies 400 feet over the San Joaquin River, killing the driver after a police pursuit. Man died after speeding off an embankment and hurling his car about 400 feet over the San Joaquin River at Dickinson and Hendon Avenues on Monday morning, according to Fresno police. The man died after speeding off the embankment and hurling his car 400 feet over up. Okay, so yeah, okay, I gotta do some. Take that
Let's
out.
say how fast he was going.
Well, he had to be going pretty damn
Damn
fast.
fast, yeah.
So I found this on the actually on a UK feed, and then I went to the Fresno Bee to get the rest of the stuff. Um, the man was identified by Fresno County Coroner's Office as David Callahan, 58. The chase began at slow speeds, about 30 miles an hour, Reynolds said, until Callahan sped up near Dickinson and Barstow Avenues, and police decided to call off the pursuit at that point. Reynolds said as Callahan drove away from the city limits shortly after the first responders were called out to the river, Dickerson and Henderson found that he had cleared the river and crashed into the Madera County side, and Callahan was killed in the crash, Reynolds said. The car was a silver Mercedes sedan, according to California Highway Patrol. Investigators estimate that he was traveling over 100 miles an hour and did not make an attempt to brake or change course before the car launched over the river. So
Incredible.
that's incredible.
Incredible.
So the picture that I saw, because
Does that go on the
I didn't
Darwin Award or something?
something like that. But the one part of the
Oh.
road is higher than the other part that he landed on. So he had a lot of speed and of course he launched pretty far. So kind of like the Snake River Canyon jump, I'm sure. And then also, a arrest was made on Highway 101 with the projectile investigation that they had over there off of 156.
Oh, really?
They made an arrest today, so
Oh,
we'll be
wow.
talking about that. And of course, our San Francisco 49ers have gone to the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. So we'll be talking about that. And let me find out what else we're talking about. I'd love to talk about the impeachment, but I'm so fucking bored of the impeachment. You know what I can talk about the impeachment was?
What's that?
About the same thing that I was talking about last month about the impeachment. Same exact,
Hmm.
same guy, same guy.
Yeah.
Same guy, same information, same stuff, same everything. So, hold on a minute. Got to get down here to my agenda. My agenda is make you guys believe everything that I believe. That's my agenda. And then on the debt crusher tonight, we're going to talk about our credit cards, how to do the Rolling Stone payoff on your credit cards, and not to cut them up, and how to use them. So we'll be using that also, and that's pretty much all I've got tonight. So we're gonna be looking at what else you got on your list. Anything interesting? You got a Dougie bitch?
Well, my car commercial, bitch, but, I could always think of something.
So you can see this is how we all prepare for our nice thing. And today I'm actually going to hit the record button.
Well, make it easy on yourself.
And what? Hit the record button now? It's 11:50 or it's only 6:59, but we can go early. So anyway.
Yeah.
We are now recording. Dun, 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 dun.
Excellent.
That's a different thing that we haven't done lately. Been having to do everything and getting it off of the YouTube feed. So which hasn't been too bad actually. It's been really the YouTube feed and the stuff that we've been doing has been pretty well, and I don't think that we're getting any feed over there. Are we getting feed? Yeah, we're getting feed. So hopefully you can hear us all over there on YouTube, and thank you for tuning into the Weathered Soul podcast. We love you to be here, and by the looks of the numbers, nobody's listening. So, but we're doing okay.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, next week's show we had talked about a subject, and we can let the listeners in on the idea of it, and maybe who knows, maybe we'll get a comment or two, and we can actually hear our listeners' points of view, right? Because I think we should spend at least a few minutes talking about this system of legalized marijuana in this state,
There we
and
go. There we go.
how that's not really it's not really helping the situation. As a matter of fact, I think it's reinforcing the black market and making it more prevalent because it's easier to moonshine, let's
Absolutely.
say.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
That's what we'll be doing. We'll be
good.
talking about the marijuana laws next week. So, anyway, hey, welcome to the Weathered Soul podcast. You got Bruce and Doug here, and we want to thank you for being here. You got the Weathered Soul podcast on Anchor.fm. That is where we are distributed from, and we're from Fresno Production Studios here in Gilroy, California. It's Thursday night. We want to welcome you guys here, and hey, resolutions were made to be broken, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Over here in Studio A.
We are I am extremely sorry, and because, I told you guys at the very first, podcast that we had this year that we were not going to have another lull in a podcast, but unfortunately, Dougie and I and my whole household and his household and damn near every household in Gilroy has got this outrageous cold. It's not the flu, and it's not this new coronavirus that's going around, but it's not the flu. It's a cold. It's a downright nasty freaking cold. And
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
telling you what, this has been, being close to 60 years old. When I'm going to turn 60 in about 4 months.
that's old.
I know, but this has been the worst cold that I can remember ever having. And I had a pretty good
Yeah,
cold last year, but this one is hung on for a while,
yeah,
and I had so much mucus and coughing and everything coming out. I still have a cough, and I hear, from people that has had this, that cough's going to linger on for, about 2 weeks to
yeah.
6 weeks. It's going to be, and man, what a nasty feeling. Jeez, I missed a day of work. We missed the same day that I missed work, we missed the
Podcast.
podcast
Yeah.
that day. And let me tell you, keep pounding that vitamin C out there, guys. Do something. Vitamin C, oregano, jalapenos, olive leaf, whatever you can consume down to get that vitamin C up and your immune system up. Do it and don't stop, because this is some nasty stuff.
One night I ate a quarter of a whole onion just to be able to breathe through my nose for a minute.
Actually, what I started out with, when I started out, and don't take, as I make a disclaimer all the time when I say something on the internet, is like, my results are not going to be your results. But when I first started this, what happened is I was taking vitamin C. I was taking 3,000 milligrams a day. In fact, I was taking about 9,000 milligrams a day, and you can't take too much. But I read the directions wrong, and I was taking a whole lot of airborne. To make a long story short,
Which you can take too many of.
yeah, and Tracy was sick, so that's why I was taking it, and then she got okay, she got better. So, I decided, "Okay, well, I don't need to take the vitamin C's that much anymore," and just stopped taking them. Well, lo and behold, as soon as I stopped taking them, I get it. So, my
Yeah,
immune system went back down, but, when I was trying to fight this before, vitamin C was helping me, definitely helping me.
yeah. Well, this snuck up too. Monday, I felt perfectly fine when I went to bed. I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't have any I didn't have a headache, I didn't have stuffy nose, no cough, no congestion, no itchiness,
Mhm,
nothing. And I
mhm.
woke up Tuesday morning dog face sick.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
it was like snap.
yeah, unfortunately, that's the way this thing's been creeping up, and to me, it hasn't been the flu. I mean, the flu is very definite. Flu is like, you come home, and or when you get it, your body aches, you're tired, you got a fever, and it comes in like that. And mine just creeped up on me. Mine was over, felt that scratchy throat one day, and the next day I was just kind of this, started sneezing, the next day, and then about 3 days in, and then it hit,
Ah,
and then when it hit on a Saturday, and I was in bed all Saturday, and also actually I wasn't in bed. I got up and I did things, but I didn't do things for long because I've been trying to do the floor on my shed, and
Studio B.
yeah, Studio B. That was you really don't want to know what was in there, but it was pretty nasty stuff. And Cowboy Kevin told me you need to wear a mask when you're in there, and I wore a mask
Yeah.
about half the time. So I probably didn't do myself any favors by not wearing a mask in
Oh,
there.
so we got the Junta virus.
Yeah, I probably got the Hunta virus going on. Hey, thanks for reminding everybody and letting everybody know what's in my. But getting better. As you can hear, the voice is still kind of froggy. I got that nice low radio voice today, and we'll be doing okay. I think so. I think we'll be all right. You gonna be okay?
Yeah.
Wow. Say so. Gilroy's sesquinc. Oh, help me out here. Gilroy's sesquicentennial is this March. In
Is that
March 2000,
150 years?
that's 150 years. Gilroy will sell its major milestone, 150th anniversary of its incorporation of a city, also known as Gilroy's sesquicentennial. And we will be celebrating the milestone with the event with some really fun activities, including on March 12th. They have a 150 chamber mixer, and I'm going to go to that contact right there. And then on March 14th, they're going to have a family fun day. And so on these celebrating the community, the 2020 Gilroy will celebrate the major milestone of the 150th anniversary of the corporation. Excuse me, known as the sesquicentennial.
Why don't they just call it 150-year
Yeah,
anniversary?
exactly. So they are going to so they're going to have a couple of different things going on. You can check the website at let me see at the Gilroy the city of Gilroy's email express in Gilroy city. Just go to City of Gilroy and you can get all that information. And that's what you can do. And you can also volunteer for Santa Clara County Civil Grand Jury. And I don't know how you feel about grand juries, but you can put your name in and you can volunteer for the Santa Clara County Civil Grand Jury. Have you ever been on a grand jury? Have you ever been on a jury?
No, I got called one time,
Yeah.
and they're doing the grand jury selection, and I was living in Connecticut, and I told the judge I was about to move out of state. He said, "Ah, no problem, then see you."
Ah, I got it. I
Yeah.
got it. I got it. Oops. Well,
Then I moved out. I don't know. It was probably I was planning on moving. I was looking for another job, and it was out of state. So
so if you want to get on the grand jury for Santa Clara County, all you got to go is to scscourt.org and click their little thing that says you want to be a grand jury application and nomination form, and you can go and you can do that. And I don't have any inkling on what to sit on a grand jury.
well, my mom was on a grand jury one time for 3 years.
Oh my god,
Yeah, it was some sort of corruption mob type thing.
for 3 years.
3 years.
Holy smokes, man! That's
Yeah.
a long freaking time.
Yeah. Well,
That is a very, very
she
long
got paid
time.
like $9 a day. She was cool with it.
As you know, if you've been listening to the Weather Soul podcast, that we've been shake, rattling, and rolling here in good old South County, and the Gilroy Information Hall or the Gilroy Information site that we've been getting our stuff from, which is the let me see, it's called the. I'm going to take you right there to the website because you guys should know this website, and and you can get the same email that I get, and it is called the it's not even giving me the name of it. Anyway, so it's the City of Gilroy's Email Express. If you go to the City of Gilroy website, you can get on their express mail website, and you can get the same emails that I'm reading off of you for here. But we've had, let me see, since the 2nd of January, we've had 10 earthquakes. The largest one being 3.9 on the 2nd, and the smallest one being 2.5 on the 6th. And they've all been centered kind of around San Juan Bautista, Gilroy, and east northeast of Morgan Hill, which we talked about was right on the dam. So What a great place to have a earthquake, but right on a dam that they're fixing to be.
Well, they keep the reservoir half empty just in case.
Yeah, still, we're gonna have a
Yeah.
pretty good flood still. I mean, I I
Yeah,
I
and
often
they're developing right underneath that dam too.
well, of course,
Yeah,
they're
right.
developing
Yeah,
right underneath the
I'm,
dam.
I'm,
Why
I'm
wouldn't you?
surprised they're not building houses on the side of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I've never seen kind of the, what do they call, the flood inundation plan in case the the dam did go. I'd be interested to find out, where
Oh
that
yeah,
water would go and how much of that water would be
it goes
all over
all
the
the way
place.
to Burnell and then stops.
What do you mean it goes all the way to Burnell? So
Goes to Burnell, it runs all the way up the valley to Burnell and just stops, turns into a lake.
but I mean, how much? I've seen, where they drain everything off to.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if the dam really broke, I mean, how much of Morgan Hill would be underwater?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
well, I think the way that the valley is shaped there is it goes like out towards where the golf course
Yeah,
is.
well, the golf course would be underwater.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the golf course would
Yeah, I don't know
definitely be
how
underwater.
much it goes the other way because I think it's uphill from there.
Do you think we're uphill from
I
Morgan
think
Hill?
we're about 100 feet higher here
Really?
than Coyote.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're 100 feet.
I
We're
think
not
so.
100 feet higher than Coyote because
Yeah.
Coyote's above us.
Is it?
Yeah, Coyote Reservoir is above us.
No, 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 no. I meant Coyote Valley.
I understand. I don't understand.
Down where the power plant and
Oh,
Santa
right, right,
Teresa
right,
runs
right,
through.
right, right.
Yeah,
Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Okay, so the valley,
yeah.
where the golf
I'm
course
not
is.
sure of
I
that, but
thought you were talking about the reservoir. I'm
yeah,
like, no, the reservoir is above us.
yeah, yeah. No, the reservoir's a couple
But it
hundred
has
feet
been
above
rocking
us.
and rolling. So, just to make sure that you guys, hey, be ready, and you can find, more information on how to be ready for a earthquake because they're coming, dude. I mean, we're gonna have one. We've had a lot of rocking and rolling. You can go to ready.gov, and you can find all kinds of information on how to, be ready for, the next earthquake and what's going to be going on here. So me and Tracy have actually started doing some of that stuff, getting our go bags completed and stuff. That's
Oh yeah, we've had one since the day we moved in.
yeah, not us. We're, we've
Yeah,
we've always been like, we know where everything's at, right? That's another reason why we're
yeah.
fixing the shed,
Well,
so have everything more.
as far as our personal, you know, survival goes, we've got a pretty good comprehensive kit.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, you know, things like bank records and all that sort of stuff, tax records, blah blah blah.
Stuff I've got in my safe. My
Yeah.
safe is supposed to be waterproof, but I'm not sure. It's got all these. I actually got into my safe. I bought a safe from Costco not too long ago, and I had it closed. All of a sudden, I open it up, and I'm going like, "It sure is damp in here." And what I had found is that they had these, desiccant, packets in there, and, from what I understand is that I was supposed to open up the safe at least once a week to let excuse me, to let the air in because, the reason why they have these desiccants in there is they don't, the safe wasn't made for having stuff that tarnishes and stuff like, silver and metals and stuff like that. It's more for paperwork, and if I would've known that, I'd never bought it. It's just one of those things that I kinda overlooked and, one of those impulse buys. "Hey, I need a safe. Hey, great price," pick it up. And now they're telling me that I have to put these desiccant, things 'cause they look like they're expensive desiccants. They're in a burlap sack, and they're all sealed up, and they look nice and everything. I've actually priced them out. They're not cheap. You have to put them in your, oven for 250 for 16 hours to recharge them
Yeah.
so you can put them back in
You
the
throw
thing.
them in your microwave for about a half an hour.
Unbelievable. Anyway,
Yeah. No, y- the machines I used to work on had air bearings, and if you didn't have clean house air, the machine came with compressors and was taking air out of the environment. But of course, the environment had to
yeah,
be wet because you're dealing with film, and you don't
absolutely.
want sparks. So yes, so they'd have to change. It was about a 2 quart desiccant container. They'd have to change out twice a day, and yeah, and basically we would the standard technique was. Um, a Pyrex dish,
Mhm.
flat baking dish in a
Yeah,
microwave, and you just cook them, and
well,
and they turn brown.
uh,
You're right. Normally they're kind of whitish, and when they're wet, they turn blue. But if you nuke them, they all just turn brown, and you just know you have to do it every day, and you don't worry about the color.
Yeah, well, now I'm waiting to get some more desiccant so I can get everything back into my safe where I want it, all my good stuff that I brought home that's not in the safe yet, so I'm actually a criminal, but we won't talk about that on the air today. Oh, did I say that?
I always
Speaking
I always like dismantling safes to see how they work.
Speaking of the criminal element, there was an arrest made in the Highway 101 projectile investigation. And anybody who's been down here in Gilroy, San Juan Bautista, Monterey area knows that we've been having a problem with somebody who's been shooting projectiles, not a gun, but they've been shooting projectiles at cars going by at the Highway 101 and 156.
Woodchucks.
Damn those woodchucks! Quit chucking that wood. And so the California Highway Patrol has made a significant breakthrough in its investigation into projectiles on State Route 156 and US 101 in the Prunedale area, as well as Highway 156 in the San Benito County. KSBW TV, this is where the information came from, was learned that 52-year-old Charles Lafferty has been arrested in connection to the projectiles, and he was arrested Wednesday by the CHP. According to the CHP, Lafferty used a slingshot and
Slingshot.
marbles. And didn't I
Right
tell you
on.
when we last talked about it? I told you he was using I bet you it was a wrist rocket
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to make
Of
his
course.
attacks. Investigators believe that he acted alone. The CHP reported that 5 people were injured from the attacks, 4 adults and 1 child, all receiving minor injuries from broken glass. So I'm glad. I'm so glad that
That
this
is
is
sick fuck.
that is sick. It's absolutely sick because one of the things that they were having a problem with is that they were finding strange projectiles. They knew it wasn't a gun because what they were finding in the cars, they were finding bits and pieces of glass, other glass, other than windshield
Colored
glass,
glass. Yeah.
yeah, colored glass, and different pieces of little rocks, and they couldn't
Yeah.
they couldn't
Like
put
shot as Aggie.
they couldn't put anything together, and I was wondering why, for 3 months this thing is going on, and I'm just going like, why can't these guys figure out what's going on? But
Yeah, and the beauty of that is, he could just be like parked in his car on a side road that overlooks the highway and just blank.
yeah, well, I'm very sure that they had a task force out there,
Oh yeah.
and they were scanning that place big time and hard because all it took was one errant marble and somebody dying, and that just would have been
Cause
a
an
bad,
accident and more, you
more.
flip over a bus.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not a game.
Yeah, it's not a game anymore. So charges include possession of a silencer, throwing substances at a vehicle with an intention of causing bodily injury, and assault with a deadly weapon that wasn't a firearm. So I'm not sure what the possession of a silencer is all about, because I've never heard of a silencer being on a slingshot, but maybe so. I have no idea.
Well, maybe that was not associated with what he was doing. Maybe they just found that on him.
I guess so.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
But they got this guy off the I think we can go by Disneyana now and be safe.
Wow.
We don't have to worry about it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have an evil
What,
Knievel.
does he hate cars?
He must hate something. And guys definitely sick in the head. I mean, I told you my story about how we used to do things in our neighborhood, just outside of our trailer
Yeah.
park, and
Well, that sounds a lot like the same charges you get when you get caught throwing snowballs at cars.
yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
we weren't using wrist rockets or anything. We were using our arm strength and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mud balls. So.
Mud balls, snowballs, ice balls. We make the snowballs the night before, put them in the freezer.
Did you ever jump your bike across anything?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What you used to jump?
We used to just jump like um, little like streams, little riverlets. I don't even
Yeah,
can't even call it a stream.
yeah. I think the
There
first
wasn't a lot of off-road bikes then.
right.
So you had like a Stingray bike and you're riding it through the woods, and I don't think you're probably off the ground more than a foot and more than a 2 or 3 foot airborne at the most. And
Right.
you know, sometimes you land on the front wheel and go over the handlebars. Sometimes you land on the back wheel and fly off the back. Sometimes you land on both wheels and you make it. Um, Usually, though, if we had our choice, we'd try to go through it, not over it.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in a trailer park. I think the first time I ever tried to really jump my bike was over garbage cans. We had a little ramp, and we used to get the 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 block was really long, so we could get a real good start going on. And we had this little place called the teen court, and we would set up a ramp, and we would stack the garbage cans and try to do garbage cans. And then we kind of graduated to the creek, and a couple of us actually made it across the creek, and some of us did make it across the creek and hit the other bank, and yeah, we've.
Yeah, yeah.
But a man in Fresno just flew over 400 feet. Actually, it was 333 feet or 330 feet over the San Joaquin River in Fresno this week. So January 20th from the Fresno Bee, Ashley Pando says the car flies about 400 feet over the San Joaquin River, killing the driver after a police pursuit. And a man died after speeding off the embankment and hurling his car 400 feet over the San Joaquin River at Dickinson and Hendon Avenues on Monday morning, according to Fresno police. The man was identified Monday evening as Fresno County Coroner's Office's David Callahan. And the Fresno police began pursuing Callahan about 8:30 a.m. on Herndon Avenue and Parkway Drive west of Highway 99 after seeing him drive recklessly. The chase began at slow speeds, about 30 miles an hour, and Reynolds said until Callahan sped up near Dickinson and Barstow Avenues, and the police decided to call off the pursuit at that point. Reynolds said, as Callahan was driving west away from the city limits. So shortly after first responders were called out to the river at Dickinson and Hendon, they found that he had cleared the river and crashed in the Madera County side. Callahan was killed in the crash, Reynolds said. Amazing.
That really is amazing.
I tell you,
That's almost sad.
a Mercedes Benz flies pretty good at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, because
Yeah.
that's what they were talking about. That you never attempted to brake, and there was no visible signs of braking or changing course. So
You probably didn't see it coming. Whoops. Fuck.
unbelievable.
Where's the bridge?
Unbelievable. What? There's no bridge. Oh, whoops. Oh my gosh.
That's
400 feet, man. That's a long way.
yeah. And can you imagine if he'd like run into
That's a football field.
traffic? Yeah.
That's a football field.
Yeah. It's more than a football field.
Yeah. Like I was saying before.
It's a lot of inertia, is what I'm saying. If they
Yeah.
hit something,
Like I was saying before the podcast, is that the pictures that I saw, because I didn't have the pictures, couldn't print them out, is that the one side that he launched off of was considerably higher than the other side of the river. So we're talking about
so he had a little glide path there.
I think we're talking about a little canyon, canyon jump,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
like the Snake River Canyon. And he just didn't fare as well as Evil Knievel did. But yeah. Well,
Wow.
purifying the gene pool,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
person at a time.
Yeah, I wonder what the situation was. I mean, was he drunk?
I don't know.
DUI?
What was the situation with the guy that drove off of Highway 1 up at Pescadero?
Yeah.
You heard about that one?
No.
They still haven't found anybody in that one. I'm not actually. I take that back. I can't be sure of that because I haven't heard any of the new reports. But for a week or two after that, because the weather was so bad that they couldn't get into the water and find anything, so they found some car parts, but that's all they found. So, and they still don't, and still as far as I know, they don't have any missing persons reports on that either. So, who knows? But they got dash cam video of somebody who actually witnessed it.
Right, I remember seeing that.
Oh yeah, and the guy just went totally
yeah, right off.
It was like
right off in front of him.
just like Harold Mudd, just unbelievable. Or what was the other one? Thumma and Louise.
Yeah, well,
Excuse me.
it's so easy that you're driving too fast. You come around a corner, you can't negotiate it, and you just freeze. Right? It's like you stomp on the brakes, but you're going too fast. You don't slow down in time, and you just freeze, and you go. if there's nothing there to stop you, off you go,
What are you
or,
gonna do?
or you hit a tree or an embankment or something. But yeah,
What are you gonna do?
I can remember the only time that really ever happened to me was I was riding an old motorcycle. It was a Sears motorcycle.
A Sears
Yeah,
motorcycle.
no battery, just a magneto, and I wasn't running very well. I'm driving it at night on a road I'm not familiar with, and I'm coming along, going along. I don't know, maybe 30, 25, 30. Come to a T intersection. So I let off the gas and put it in the clutch and start braking. The light goes out, and I'm just like, "Day!" And then just like rode right into the woods. I didn't hit anything, but I went like 10 feet into the woods before I stopped. So
Too
then
funny.
I got blind. I got night blinded. The light just went off, and I'm just like, I know I got to stop, so I'm on the brakes, but it's like, am I stopping in time?
Well, I want to thank you guys for your support for listening to the Weather Soul podcast on Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm, and you can help us out, and because we're going to need to clean our microphones after this, and all this cleaning stuff, and what you see here, the YouTube videos and stuff like this, the stuff is not free for us to do, and we can use your support, and the best support that you can give us is to watch or listen to our podcast. I mean, it's great that you're here at YouTube, but if you just go to one of your favorite podcatchers and subscribe on YouTube, you can subscribe Stitcher, you can subscribe on any of your podcatchers that you want to. You can go directly to Anchor.fm and click our link and listen to the podcast, and we actually get paid for it. And we made. I did not look, but so far we've made like $1.30 or something like that. Like I can almost afford enough to buy some Lysol to take care of our situation, so we don't get a cold again. But we appreciate you guys
We can't
listening
get
to.
this cold again. Our body's already figured it out.
But we absolutely appreciate you guys listening to us, and you can support us absolutely by going to Anchor.fm and listening. Also, you can get us on Facebook. Just go to the Weather Soul podcast and join the group over there, and you can always give us an email, Bruce the Weathered Soul at gmail.com. And we would love your input. We would love a review. We would love any types of things you can give us, because we got some interesting topics coming up. Um, um, Dougie wants to talk about the medical, or excuse me, the marijuana issue that we have here in California since they've legalized medical and recreational marijuana, and some ramifications have come down from that. Of course, by the state of California, because the state of California has never found anything that it won't tax. And marijuana has been one of those that has been very heavily taxed. And I know that from the fact that we used to buy Anthony his CBDs, and they were very heavily taxed. And of course,
Well, they figure it's like this. Okay, they've got they tax the living snot out of cigarettes.
yeah,
Booze is taxed.
yeah, it's a blue tax.
Booze is taxed heavily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, you don't see it because it's incorporated in the price.
Well, exactly. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And same thing with cigarettes. Cigarettes don't cost $10.95, a pack. Um, you know, that's $6 tax on that. Bottle of booze doesn't cost $32.
I thought it was
That's
very
$12 tax on that.
I thought it was very interesting that people, besides the state legislature actually just going ahead and taxing the hell out of everything without voter signatures, because of course there are representatives and that's what they get to do. Also, the state of California, the voters in the state of California have no problem voting in their own taxes. And one of the things that I've seen that has been happening very much lately is that people want to know where their tax money is going, and I think it's going to be not very long before we're going to start getting more of a tax revolt. So since Proposition 13 is under attack, you guys got to watch out for this new Proposition 13 that they're disguising as an education bill, and they're making it, and they're making the wording like if you vote yes for it, it's a no vote, and if you vote no for it, it's a yes vote.
Of
Guys,
course they are.
get out there and get educated on what you were voting on. Let's not get another debacle like we had with the high speed rail. I mean, I can't think about it anymore other than that. And I'm going to be looking very closely at my ballot because I will not vote for a tax ever. That's never going to happen with me. So just be very, very careful when you're voting for a tax. And
Just play it safe and vote no for everything.
yeah, I would like to vote no for everything, but sometimes a no is a yes. So you got to be very careful about that. But one thing I do want to be yes about is that the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. What about that?
The 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. So let's see, first time since 2005?
It's not so
No,
long ago.
2015. 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
The last time Kaepernick was in the Super Bowl and Harbaugh. Anyway, but we finished our season, best seasons that we've had since 1994, and we're going to be
Yeah.
playing against the Chiefs, and I think it's a very, very interesting matchup
Yeah.
since the greatest quarterback of all time played for both teams. And I don't care what you say about freaking Tom Brady. He's not the greatest quarterback that ever played all time. Joe
Yeah.
Montana was the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
I thought it was Joe Namath.
You wish. You just like his nylons. But anyway, the San Francisco 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. I couldn't be happier. And
Yeah.
I was just on all year.
Speaking of which, the police officers will be out in full force Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's why I'm going to be sitting my butt right here in this house, along with hopefully Dougie and Abby, watching the Super Bowl, and I'll send them home on an Uber. But yeah, I was on pins and needles all year. When the season first started, and there was some banter going on, and actually, this has been my second season back with the NFL since the bunch of crap went down, and I don't want to get into my political aspects about it, but yeah, I took a break from the NFL, and so I've been back for 2 years, and then this year, all of a sudden, I'm listening to sports radio, and we're all talking that the Niners are going to go 7-9, 8-8, and all of a sudden they had this wonderful start.
I think SI predicted 10-6 at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they
Yeah.
predicted, but I was always predicting 8-8 at the best. And all of a sudden they did what they did. They went 14-2, and I'm just like, really? Really? And they got some dynamic players, and Kittle is just right up there. Breida, Mozart, of course, Garoppolo, and but they're going against a team that has looked pretty damn good during the playoffs, man. And Andy Reid has got Mahomes and those guys firing in all cylinders. It's going to be a great game, and I
Yeah.
hope it's not a Super Bowl blowout either way. I want it to
Yeah.
be a good game, and hopefully, I want the Niners to win, but I want my numbers to win.
Yeah. I really think, one thing that um kind of blew me away with Mahomes is the way that he can find, you know, the hole and get the first down no matter
Oh,
what.
I'm telling you,
It's scary.
the guy is just scary all the way
Yeah.
around.
He takes chances.
He's a hybrid Russell Wilson, and let me tell you, I like Wilson, and I can't stand Pete Carroll, but the Seahawks were up there too, kind of a good team like that. So, but I'm
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
looking forward to the Super Bowl, and yeah, there's just all kinds of things that are going on with that. I can't wait. I don't like all the hype going up to it. I probably won't watch anything but the Super Bowl, and of course I'll.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
The
cannot.
halftime
I can't.
show is
I can't stand the halftime show. I don't like the.
commercial.
I don't like the feel good stories. Coming up about 10 kids, and I grew up 10 kids in a one room shack type things. And stuff like that. Let's just go and play the game and have fun. And I've heard
Yeah.
Bloomberg has bought a whole bunch of time for I'm just not interested, in any of that. So I think we're just gonna be drinking and eating a lot and watching the Super Bowl like we did last year. I think we did the same thing last year.
You know what? I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but I forget what show it was on, Daily Show or Colbert or one of those nighttime shows. But they're talking about Bloomberg, and he's planning on spending like $1 billion plus on average, political ads.
Oh, for the political.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And somebody said, Why don't you just offer Trump $1 billion to quit? See what he does.
There you go. Why not? Why not have another $1 billion? I agree totally. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, why trade? What was that in the Patriot where Martin says, "Why would I trade one? Or why would I trade one tyrant for 3 million or 3,000 tyrants or 300 tyrants?" It's just like,
Yeah.
why? So, why are you guys going to vote for Bloomberg, who's a billionaire, or Steyer, who's a billionaire, or anything like that? We can get into the politics all day. That's for another show. I've talked myself out of politics this week. It's just too crazy out there. But anyway, Super Bowl's coming up. I can't wait. Go 49ers. Some people, your wife wants to go for the Chiefs, and we'll have a talk about that later. But if she actually texts me, she goes, "I'm going for the Chiefs." I'm like, whatever, whatever you want to do. But we'll be right back.
You think that was payback?
Yes, we'll be right back. Back on the Weathered Soul podcast, you've got Bruce and Doug of the Weathered Souls, and we're welcoming you back here to the Debt Crusher portion of our show. And if you haven't been with us for the
What'd you
last
say?
couple of weeks, the Debt Crusher,
The Dut?
the Debt Crusher, the debt. Am I? Do I still have my cold?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
You can't hear me because of my cold.
The Duck Crusher.
It's the Duck Crusher. The Duck Crusher. And
Sorry.
if you've been with us for the past couple of weeks, you know that we are doing a series on trying to get you guys out of debt. We've talked about already about an emergency fund and actually we talked for 2 weeks about it. And this is actually the second segment because we missed the segment last Thursday. But I want to tell you, credit cards, man.
Well, let's recap.
Let's recap.
Recap what we've learned so far.
Well, so what we've learned so far is that
Well,
there's
let me tell you.
Go ahead.
Let me see if I've got it.
Let's see if
Yeah,
Dougie's been listening.
Yeah. I think the first thing is you've got to look at your budget and see where you can serve, and then you've got to start saving, even if it's just a tiny amount at a time. Right? You've got to build up a small rainy day fund just for emergency sakes, even if it's nothing but a roll of quarters. You have something in there just in case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you can move on.
Then you can move on.
Once you start moving on and have a little bit of working room because you've cut all the waste out of your budget and you've started to save.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can start building credit.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. And what we want to do is that some of you have already built credit. And the problem is that you've built the wrong credit. Instead of your FICO score going up, 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 your FICO score is down, down, down. Why? Because you've maxed out your credit cards. And believe me, even if you even buy a $30 fill up of gas on your credit card and you don't pay it off that month, it's going to take you a while to pay that off if you pay the minimum amount that you're supposed to pay every month on your credit card. It's incredible the amount of money that it costs you to not pay off your credit card every month.
And then that gas will end up costing you like $10 a gallon.
Exactly. So here's what me and Tracy did when we got out of debt. And we had credit cards, and at that time when we were in the heavy credit card debt, we had actually cut up our credit cards. So we didn't have a credit card for the whole time that we were actually getting out of debt. And we did that a la Dave Ramsey, because Dave Ramsey doesn't want you to have credit cards. Susie Orman is iffy about credit cards. Me, I think if you can teach yourself how to use credit cards the correct way, the credit card is your best friend. Because I love to use cash. I think cash is the best way to go, but there's something to be said for using credit cards for some of that everyday stuff that you're going to buy every day that you know that 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 you're going to have, and you know that you're going to have that money. So if you know that you're going to buy this certain, like groceries, we budgeted X amount of money for groceries every month. So we have a budget for groceries, and we have a budget for gas, and that's the only thing that we actually use our credit card for is for groceries and gas. So I have a set budget, and and we try to hit that budget every month. We try not to hit the budget every month is what we try to stay under. But every month we always have that money in the bank, and we always pay it off every month. But to get there, you have to be totally out of credit card debt. And the best way to get out of credit card debt is to use the Rolling Stone method that I used. Dave Ramsey calls it the debt snowball. And what you do is you can pick it one of two ways. You can use the the credit card that has the smallest balance on it, or you can use the credit card that has the highest balance on it. You can use the credit card that has the least amount of interest being paid on it, or you can use the credit card that has the most being paid on it. It really doesn't matter, but you've got to start paying off those credit cards. So you take one and you concentrate on that one and you pay that debt off. I don't care how long it takes you, but you do not pay the minimum balance on that credit card. You pay more than you try to pay it off as fast as possible.
Mhm.
And that's what you do. You take all your consumer debts, and basically, this is what you do. You take your consumer debts, you take your credit card payments, you take your car payments, you take any kind of payments that anything that you've put on time, clothes payments, gas card payments, diners card payments. I don't even know if they have diners card anymore, but anyway, any kind of consumer loan that you've taken, you've got to put all those into a priority list. Which one's the smallest? Which one's the highest? Make a hill out of it. Your Rolling Stone's going to either roll up the hill or roll down the hill, one of the two. But you got to pick a way that it's going to go. Because what's going to happen is as you start paying those debts off, the money that you're using for that first debt that you paid off rolls over to the next debt that you pay. Which means if you're paying $10 on this lowest credit card that you've been trying to pay off and you only owe, let's say you owe $50 on this credit card and you're paying $10 a month on it. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to pay that $10 a month on that credit card. You're going to pay it off in 5 months. Okay. So you're going to take that $10 when you pay that credit card off, and then you're going to start paying the next credit card off with more money plus that $10. And it's what you call a rolling stone. And that rolling stone builds momentum after a while.
Mhm.
And as all those debts come off, all of a sudden you're out of debt. You're out of that consumer. You're out of that credit loop.
Right. The only catch there is to have the resources to do that. All right. You have to be pretty blessed that no catastrophe happens. Somebody doesn't T-bone you in your car
You
or
have to have that
yeah.
emergency fund. The
Well,
very first
there's
thing that we
there's things
talked
there
about.
there are catastrophic things I'm
Yes,
talking about.
I know that.
Yeah.
I
But
know that.
but but yeah, but for a way of life, that's the way
Yeah,
to do it. You need to it's almost like dividing and conquering, okay? You cleave off this piece, you conquer it. Now you have those resources to help you cleave off the next highest piece
exactly.
and you conquer it.
Exactly,
And you keep
exactly,
going up or down, like you said.
and that's how you do it, and then
Yeah.
that's how me and Tracy did it, and after we paid off our very last creditor and, we begged and pleaded with, TransUnion and Experian and everybody else to clean up our credit record, and we wrote the letters, and there's a whole myriad of things that I will be able to teach you because I'm very shortly going to be giving out a program for the first 10 people that want to sign up for this program. It's going to be absolutely free, so keep your eye on it. But I'm going to be selling this program to you. We're going to be doing some videos on it, some forums, and some actual class time that I'm going to be offering on YouTube and on audio. And we're gonna nip this thing in the ass, and we're going to get you guys out of debt so that you guys can later on build wealth. And that's the most important thing.
Another thing too, even if you have a horrible credit rating, if you have a credit card, they
Mm.
might be charging you 24, 25, 26% interest
Absolutely.
on it. Nonetheless, if you pay it off every month, your credit rating will go up.
My credit rating when I first started doing the debt, doing this snowball that I did, if I remember right, I had a 535 FICO score. That's what I had, and that was in 2007.
Okay, I think that's the one that comes with your birth certificate, right?
So it's pretty bad. That's pretty much the lowest you can go. And now I'm at 810 now.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
40 points from having a perfect score.
Mhm.
And not that I'm actually, shooting for that perfect score. It's just, that's how it goes when you're up there. Uh, um, um,
You know,
you just
it's
pay
it's
things off.
funny too. You know, I've got, got a really good credit score. Um, it's well over 800.
Mm.
So is Abby's. We went to buy a car, and it was like Abby's auto credit score was like 5 points higher than mine because she paid off one more car than me.
Yeah, it's also the amount of
Yeah.
your yeah, it's all the amount of actually old credit that the way that they do your credit rating is kind of weird. They're taking your old credit. They warned actually my credit score went down by 3 points this last month, and they're go like, swipe here for an explanation of why. Well, one of my old debts went off. One of my old card debts went off of my credit rating or off of my Experian, and they're going like, "Oh, well, for some reason, I don't think that you can hold on to them, but as old credit falls off, um, your credit rating will go down because it impacts it.
Well,
Because lenders want
there's
to
less
know,
of a track
yeah,
record.
yeah, lenders want to have you on a track record. So
That's what I was saying about with the credit card. You have to use it
yeah,
to earn it.
right, right,
You could
right.
have a credit card and never use it
Yeah,
and never have to pay anything and still have a crappy ass.
I've got
Yeah.
I've got 3 credit cards. I use one and I use one, the other one, is from my bank, so they never take it away from me, and the other one is from Capital One, and I just pay the service fee. I pay $39 a year just to keep it on,
Well, I mean, that's where you're at now.
and I just like
But
what
but
I'm
to
saying
but
is
to
just
get
like
there but to get
but
there, my first credit card was a Sears credit card.
right,
They give them to anybody.
right,
If you could write your name, they give you a credit card, and they didn't care because it was a high interest rate,
right,
and boom. So I bought a set of tools. I paid it off.
and they'll give you a credit card now. They'll give anybody a credit card now. I mean, pretty much. I
Pretty
mean,
much, yeah,
yeah. I mean, they're going to give
yeah.
you either a credit card that's going to be 25 to 30% plus prime, or you get me, which is I guess what we're paying. What are we paying now? Anywhere from 12 to 16% plus prime or something like that is the best credit cards that we can get. Up in the higher echelons of the FICO score, which means your FICO score means it's that the bank really likes you.
I used to have one at 6. Used to have one at 6.
It's been a
This was like
long time since
this was
they've had
six
those
percent
interest
for
rates.
6% for life,
Yeah,
and then it's like I didn't use it for like 2 months, and they said, "You're not using this anymore. We're taking it
we're,
back."
we're going
Like,
to take it back away from
fuck
you.
you.
But once you get out of that credit card debt, what you have to do and train yourself is that you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, there's so many of people that I have known that live off of credit, and some of them live off of credit just for the fact that they know that they're never going to pay it off. They're just like, if I die, you know,
Well,
oh well.
that's kind of like the way it was when I was in college. It's like, if I could maintain my checking account at a minus $500, I was happy. Really. It's the best I could
Yeah,
do, man.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then, but what you gotta get is you gotta get into this lifestyle that you just don't need to have that extravagant lifestyle that you think that you need to have that your your dorm room buddy has or your next door neighbor has or your coworker or anything like that. You really don't need it. I mean, if it means that you have to go into debt to have it, then you don't need it. I mean, there's a certain sense of pride that I learned off of being able to afford something really and going out and buying it and paying for it and not having to pay payments for it.
That's a whole nother subject, and it's a
Yeah.
whole psychology
Yeah,
too.
there's definitely a psychology to getting into that mindset when you get back into having a credit card.
Well, there's also a whole psychology and mindset of not being caught in that trap.
Correct, correct, and that I'm not sure what the psychology is on that. We'll definitely have some people that have a better idea of what that
Well,
is.
me, it's a conservative's point of view that if if you can't afford it, then you simply can't have it. If you want it, make room for it in your budget, but don't go into debt to get it.
All right, but in this day and age, all you're doing is being bombarded on TV about how you have to
It's
have
a
it and you have to
discipline.
need it, and
It's a
it's a
discipline.
discipline. Yeah, and we're definitely going to try to change. Definitely going to try to teach you that discipline because it definitely is a discipline that you have to know. And in order to get out of debt, you have to have discipline to get up and either roll that rolling stone up or down that credit loop that you have, and to get rid of that debt that you have, and then you have to turn that total mindset around because by the time you get those debts paid off, you're pretty much in a mindset that you don't want to get back into that loop.
How many years did it take you?
It took us 6 years. It
That's
took us
about right.
2000 2015
Yeah.
was when we
If you're
paid off
carrying
our last
yeah,
consumer debt.
yeah, if you're carrying 20, $30,000 in credit card debt right now, if you can get it done in 5 or 6 years, you're doing
Yeah.
really good, and you should be proud of
The
yourself.
the 2 credit cards we paid off in a year. So it was 2010 when we paid them off. We had just bought the house. We had finally got, we used my GI Bill to get the house, and we got a fairly decent rate, and we paid off the credit cards. Um, and then the cars, amounted up to over $30,000, and we paid those off.
Use the GI Bill?
I used the GI Bill.
Socialist.
Yes, I did. And then, it took us another 5 years to pay off the cars both together, and, so
Yeah, yeah, and it feels good when you pay off a car, doesn't it?
oh, believe me, let me tell you, there's nothing like it,
Yeah.
and I used the
And
extra
there's that chunk. Yeah.
and actually it was staggered payments because I had bought one car back in 2006 and the other car I had bought in 2012, and, the RAV4 I paid off in 3 years, but, when I paid off the truck, I used that money that I paid the truck off with, that payment, and
Yeah.
added it on to my
And
RAV4
bada
payment,
boom.
and bada boom, the RAV4 was paid off, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, there's that snowball.
There's that snowball
Yeah.
that I'm talking about. So,
Or you could have been, um, as I will say, not conservative, and you could have said, "Oh, I got an extra $500 a month. Let's see. Oh, I think that I'm gonna get a bigger house,
yeah,
or
you
go
have
out
to
and buy another car
you have
immediately."
to get out of that
Or
mindset.
yes, yes, you do.
You have to get out of that mindset. You have to get out of that
Yeah.
mindset. Now,
Every extra resource, every time I win a scratch it ticket, whatever it is, it's going towards my debt.
okay, so guys, here's the plan this week. Start putting your debts together. Put them all together. Your car payment, your credit card payments, your clothing payments, any cards you got out there for Macy's, Sears, whatever credit card payments you have. Put them in a row and figure out which ones you're going to start paying off because you're going to have to pay out. You're still paying those every month. So you could be paying your smallest card off first and still paying the minimums on those other 5 or 6 cards you got. But once you start paying off that one, you take that money that you were spending on that one and you transfer it
Yeah.
back over to the next minimum and you start paying those off. Okay. Yeah, you have to do this because if you don't do this, you're never going to be able to establish the credit that you need to go forward with how it unfortunately pans out that we have to be able to buy real estate and cars and stuff like that, in the real world. If you want to get a great deal on a car with a good interest rate, you've got to have excellent credit.
Yeah, because the
You know,
interest rate is also part of an insurance policy.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a bet. It's
Yeah,
a bet that you'll pay it off.
and now employers are looking at your credit rating and all kinds of things depend on your credit rating. So it's really
Yeah.
super, super, super important that you get out of debt.
There's one other trick that we did, and that was uh, consolidating debt, transferring balances from a higher interest credit card to a lower interest credit card,
You can
just
absolutely
to
do
help
that.
reduce the payment.
You can absolutely do that. That's a very, very good point that I never even brought up is that, yeah, absolutely. If you can qualify for
Yeah,
some kind of a transfer of balance into a better credit card, by all means do it. And then, right now, you're just paying off credit cards to scrap credit cards. I mean,
yeah,
you're definitely going to you're going to be increasing your FICO score, but also destroying your FICO score at the same time at the risk of getting out of debt. And then after you get out of debt, then we'll start talking about you getting a brand new credit card with a brand new way of doing things, and why you have that credit card and
Hmm.
why you use that credit card, and hopefully it's a rewards credit card that gives you cash back or gives you something back, and that you pay that thing off, that balance every month
Every month.
religiously,
Yeah, yeah,
every month
yeah.
religiously, because
Absolutely.
that is what raises your FICO
Yep.
score. You get the rewards. I don't care what Dave Ramsey says. I don't care what anybody else says. It's a the FICO score you need, unless you've got millions of dollars in your back pocket. You need credit.
Even making a significant payment on a large debt isn't going to raise your score as much as paying a small debt off.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're looking forward. I'm working on that project. You can get a hold of me at brucetheweatheredsoul@gmail.com, and you can get on part of the list. First 10 people that are going to be signing up for this program are going to get it free, and I'm just going to make a great deal out to everybody because I want everybody to get out of debt. So it's not going to be a very expensive program, but of course, we got to put food on our tables. We got to keep our mics clean. We got to keep the recordings, keep them going, and we just want to thank you, me and Doug. Number one, we're sorry for missing a week, but we're back, and we're somewhat getting healthier.
Yeah. We'll try to get some Bugs Bunny reruns or something to play for you next time we're sick.
Maybe we will, or something like that. But it's great having you guys. I hope you guys keep listening. Keep us on tune at YouTube on Thursday nights, 7 o'clock. You can get us on your favorite podcatcher. Go to Anchor.fm. Go to iTunes. Go to Stitcher. Go to Google Play. You can get us on any of your favorite podcatchers. And I just want to thank you guys for being our listeners. You guys are very special to us. I love seeing the numbers that I see, and I guess we're going to be back next week.
Most likely, yes.
Most likely, we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about marijuana next
yeah.
week.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, we're going to talk
Yeah,
about marijuana next week,
yeah,
and maybe a couple other interesting
yeah,
vices that I want to bring in.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, and one of these days we can maybe talk about social media platforms or something like that,
yeah, kind of
or and,
we kind of missed that. We kind of missed
yeah,
that
yeah,
today,
yeah. Well, that's all right. We were gonna hit that, but we got going, and that's the way the show
and
goes.
that's the way the show goes. So I'm gonna
Gig, 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 gig.
gig, 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 gig. So y'all have a good weekend and a good week. And Dougie, thanks for coming.
Say goodnight, Dougie.
Say goodnight, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie.
All right, man. We'll see you guys later. We recorded.
We have data.
Yeah, data.
So that's a Lenovo, huh? Is that a decent brand?
Yeah, absolutely. At first, the first Lenovo that I ever looked at or that I ever had, I thought, this cheap piece of shit. What the fuck is Lenovo?
No, no,
They
they've got a good
fucking
reputation.
exploded, dude, on the
Yeah.
scene. I mean,
I mean, I've always had HPs or Dells. Believe it or not, the first computer I had was a Hyundai,
mhm.
and then I got a Packard Bell, and then like everything else from there has been like HP Dell. I know I've been really happy with my last Dell.